Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and it is January 1st, 2021. Will 2021 truly be a happy new year? Well, it can be if you make it a happy new year. We often talk about finding happiness or hopefully everything will work out. That's a bunch of crap. The reality is you find the happiness, you earn the happiness, and you make it whether or not things can work out. I think that was English. Let's see, Hunt. You can ensure things work out. There we go. That sounds a lot better. The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, so often these days, a lot of this hippy-dippy crap that you hear on the internet is just that. It's crap. It's a bunch of general statements that don't really serve to help anybody. When you talk about going out there and taking on the world, what does that actually even mean? Back in 2018, I would have said there was no way to affect any change, that my life would just go on from one mediocre year to the next. And then 2019 happened. 2019, I decided I was going to pick myself up by my proverbial bootstraps. I say proverbial because I didn't actually own any boots at the time. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, how do you do that? How do you pick yourself up from nothing and turn into something? How do you go from no car, no future, no nothing to a car and a PTR 91? How do you do that? It would have seemed impossible to me back then, but in all reality, going from nothing to something starts right here. Right here is what makes your life. Perspective, ladies and gentlemen, is the single most important aspect of life. If you look upon everything negatively, nothing is ever good. If you look upon everything positively, nothing is ever truly terrible. If you look upon everything pessimistically, everything is the end of the world. If you look upon everything optimistically, or look upon things in an optimistic manner, I should say, then while something bad can happen, it's not the end of the world. Getting this in order is the most important thing you can do. The brain, your mind, your outlook on life will ensure you actually can have a happy new year. Now, how do you do that, though? Just saying that you need to do that doesn't really tell you much of anything, now does it? Well, I've been sitting around for a while thinking about that. What made me change from 2018 to 2021? That's a very short period of time, and I am in many respects a completely different person from what I was back in 2018. Well, if we want to get hippy-dippy, we say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, that's actually more true than you'd think, but it does require a bit of explanation to really understand what that means. The first step is the most important step, because a lot of things goes into that first step. The first thing is, well, you have to decide you want to affect a change. The second thing you have to do is you actually have to do it. And doing it is the hardest part. When you want to go from nothing to something, well, it can be rather daunting. If you asked me back in 2018 how I would possibly pick myself up at all, I would have said there's no way. If you would have said to me back in 2018 that I would have a fully upgraded computer and be talking into a Blue Yeti microphone, I would have called you a fool. There's no way to do that. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And my single step in 2019 was to try to find a better job. And that required a lot of work. A lot of work. I'd been coasting in life. With little money and a lot of free time. But that free time was filled with pretty much nothing at all. Whereas now, while I have substantially less free time, I can actually do something. So that desire was to work to better myself. And the first step was, okay, I need to affect this change. I need to find a superior job so that I actually can have money to do something. And so I went from, having a crap ton of free time to I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning every single day, except for Saturday and Sunday, and going to work for 10 hours a day. I went from having plenty of time to no time. But I was able to have money. And by having money, I was able to start doing things. And within 2 months, I had that car. And so, ladies and gentlemen, how do you make yourself do something? How do you go from, just kind of coasting about in life to actually living it? Well, that change starts right here. So, the stepping off point for that first step of 1,000 miles is you have to decide that life is worth living, and that requires you to go from looking at life in either a pessimistic or apathetic way to saying, I have control over my life and I'm going to achieve this goal, whatever that goal may or may not be. You have to basically see life as under your control. Now, there's a lot of things we can't control in life, but we can control how we respond to these random events. For example, if I had a negative view of life, I could have said back in November of 2019 that the good days were over because I got in a wreck and my car got messed up. But by having a positive view, it's like, okay, I'll just replace the door. And you know what? I replaced the goddamn door and the car's fine. When you have a less pessimistic or less apathetic view, things that seem so terrible aren't so terrible anymore. So there's a number of things that goes into taking that first step. The first thing is you have to actually take it. You can't put it off to tomorrow. The tomorrow trap is one of the worst aspects of the human condition. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't need to do it today. I'll get it done tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow's just a day away, right? I was terrible about this for many, many years. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. I mean, come on, why do I need to do it today? I just want to sit around and play video games. Once you fall into that tomorrow trap, it's very hard to actually get out of it. But in 2019, no more tomorrow. Today, I'm going to get this crap done. Now, in 2021, the very first day, I could have just kicked back, relaxed, and played some Dark Souls 3. Instead, I spent pretty much the entire day working on this book. You see, my goal for 2021 is to get an A+ certification and get a better job and better my life. And the journey is on its 300th step. But there's a little bit more than 1,000 miles. So I spent most of the day taking notes on a chapter on mass storage devices. Took a long time, but I got it done because I did not put it off to tomorrow. So if you want to take that step, you got to say, I'm going to do it today, no matter what. I'm reminded of the classic Simpsons episode, Bart Gets an F. It was actually one of the most popular episodes of the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Bart keeps putting off studying for his history exam and fails miserably, and potentially has to repeat the 4th grade. It's actually a pretty well-done episode by far, and it really shows just how difficult getting yourself into the mindset to work really is. And that's the thing. He kept putting it off day after day after day, and then the exam came, failed. You have to do it today. And the best way to avoid the tomorrow trap is to look at it differently. Like I said, everything starts right here. So, how do you look at it differently? Well, for example, I don't want to study today, but I really don't want to study tomorrow either. So why don't I get everything done today so I have less to do tomorrow? And it's like another example from today. I would like to have been able to kick back and relax and potentially not make this video. I have to put effort to make this thing, But wouldn't it be better to get it done today than have to do it tomorrow? In addition to that, I drive my car around the block once a week. I don't have to, I work from home, but I like to make sure my car is kept up because, well, that car was not cheap. And I, of course, didn't want to drive around the block today. It's fucking cold outside. But you know what? I got my ass in that car and I drove it around the block. And now I don't have to do it on Saturday. Now I can do whatever I want Saturday. And that's the thing. Get it done today so you don't have to do it tomorrow. Then you got another thing, ladies and gentlemen. When you take that first step may be terrible. I certainly, back in 2019, didn't want to have to work 10 hours every day, getting up at 4:30 in the morning and then working, 10 hours. I didn't want to do that. I'd rather play the video games. But I forced myself to do it anyway because I wanted a better life. And so back in 2019, I had an old-ass computer, old-ass monitor. 2021, big-ass 32-inch monitor, and a graphics card that allows me to play Doom Eternal maxed out. Yeah, I have to work a shitload of hours to do that, but I have it. I've improved my life to the point where I may have less time to do fun stuff, but the fun stuff I get to do is substantially better than what it was back then. Another thing you have to do, ladies, actually, let me back up. So the thing is, it might seem bad right now, whatever it is you have to do, but it will be worth it in the long run. And that's the thing. You make your own happiness, and you have to work for that happiness. It's very easy to say, oh, the good days are long ago, or remember the good old days? That's another trap people fall into. When you think that yesterday was the best day of your life, you've already failed. Or you're already lost. I'll be nice. The fact is, you can't have the good old days. You have to have a goal in mind to make these days better than the old days. And I know that sounds like hippy-dippy crap, because, well, surely yesterday was the best day of my life. No. In life, there should never be the best day of your life. Because every year you should be working to get better and better. Believe me, it sounds like crap. I know it does. If I'd heard this speech I'm giving right now back in 2018, I would have called myself a fool. But the fact is, if you want to live a happy life, every new good thing that happens has to be better than the old good thing. The new days have to be better than the old days. Things might be bad right now, but you can affect a change and make the bad become good. And that good that comes from the bad can be better than the good that came before the bad. Because in life, you have to constantly evolve. You have to constantly be pushing the boundaries of what you have today. Now, that doesn't mean, like you want to become a CEO of Amazon or something. You don't have to do that. But it really comes from within. That's the idea. You're pushing yourself further and further along. You have to earn your happy ending, as TV tropes would say. You have to earn the happiness. If you want 2021 to be a good year, to be a happy new year, you have to earn that. And it's not easy. But the journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first step, or 1,000 miles, whatever. You get the idea, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a rather interesting year in the Chinese sense. But if we work hard enough, if we fight hard enough for the future, it can be a good year. And I'm not talking in terms of politics. I'm talking about in terms of the individual. And so, ladies and gentlemen, 2021 is upon us. I'm sure we all have things that we want to achieve this year. Let's not fall into the tomorrow trap. Let's not say, the good days are behind us. Let's make this year the best year ever, and then start working on making 2022 the best year ever as well. I'm GeneralLotz, and I'm going to wish you a very happy 2021.